The wind howled across the desolate plains of Redstone, Montana, carrying the bitter chill of early autumn. In a ramshackle barn on the edge of town, Lila Morrow curled into a ball on a pile of moldy straw, her thin frame trembling. Her coughs echoed in the dim space, each one tearing at her lungs like a rusty blade. At 19, Lila was a shadow of the vibrant girl she'd once been, her body weakened by illness and her spirit battered by cruelty. The barn door creaked open, and Lila flinched. Amos Crane, the grizzled foreman of the Double Bar Ranch, loomed in the doorway, his leather whip coiled in his hand. His eyes, cold as the steel on his belt, fixed on her. "Get up, girl," he growled. "Ain't no time for lazin'. The stables need muckin', and you're behind." Lila pushed herself to her knees, her breath ragged. "I'm tryin', Mr. Crane. I swear I am. It's just, my chest hurts somethin' awful today." Amos's face twisted. "Sick, sick, always sick. You think I care about your excuses? You eat my food, sleep under my roof, you work." He cracked the whip against the barn wall, the sound sharp as a gunshot. Lila's heart raced, but her legs wouldn't hold her. She collapsed back onto the straw. The whip came down, stinging her shoulder through her threadbare dress. She bit her lip to stifle a cry, knowing tears would only make it worse. For months, this had been her life, ever since her parents died in a wagon accident, leaving her penniless and alone. Amos had taken her in, promising work and shelter, but his charity came with a price. Every day she was too weak to haul hay or scrub floors, he beat her, his temper fueled by whiskey and greed. "You're useless," Amos spat, raising the whip again. But before it could fall, a low voice cut through the air like a blade. "Enough." Lila's eyes darted to the barn door. A stranger stood there, silhouetted against the fading daylight. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with a weathered hat pulled low over his eyes. His duster coat swayed in the wind, and a revolver hung at his hip, glinting faintly. He stepped inside, his boots heavy on the dirt floor. Amos turned, his whip still raised. "Who the hell are you?" "Name's Elias Kane," the stranger said, his voice calm but edged with steel. "And I don't take kindly to men who beat women." Amos sneered. "This ain't your business, cowboy. She's my worker, and I'll do what I please." Elias's eyes flicked to Lila, taking in her pale face, the bruises blooming on her arms. His jaw tightened. "She don't look like she's in any shape to work. Looks like she needs a doctor, not a whip." Amos laughed, a harsh, barking sound. "Doctor? For her? She's just a lazy orphan, fakin' sickness to shirk her duties. Ain't worth the trouble." Elias took a step closer, his presence filling the barn. "I'm gonna give you one chance to walk away, Crane. Drop that whip and leave her be." Amos's face reddened. He lunged, swinging the whip toward Elias. But the cowboy was faster. In a blur, he caught Amos's wrist, twisting it until the whip fell to the ground. With a swift shove, he sent Amos stumbling into a stack of crates. "Get out," Elias said, his voice low and dangerous. "Or I'll drag you out." Amos scrambled to his feet, cursing, but one look at Elias's steady hand hovering near his revolver made him think twice. He spat at Lila's feet and stormed out, muttering threats under his breath. Lila stared at the stranger, her heart pounding. Why'd you do that?" Elias knelt beside her, his eyes softening as he took in her fragile state. "Because no one deserves to be treated like that. Can you stand?" She nodded weakly, but her legs buckled when she tried. Without a word, Elias slipped an arm around her, lifting her gently. "Come on. You're coming with me." Elias's ranch was a modest spread 10 miles outside Redstone, nestled in a valley where the grass grew tall and the air smelled of pine. The house was small but sturdy, with a stone chimney puffing smoke into the twilight sky. Lila sat by the fire now, wrapped in a wool blanket, a tin mug of broth warming her hands. Her coughs had eased, but her eyes were wary, watching Elias as he moved about the kitchen. "Why re you helping me?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "You don't even know me." Elias paused, his back to her as he stirred a pot on the stove. "I know what it's like to be alone," he said finally. "Lost my wife and son to fever 3 years back. Ain't been right since. When I saw you in that barn, I couldn't just walk away." Lila's throat tightened. She wanted to believe him, but trust was a luxury she'd long forgotten. "I can't pay you back. I ain't got nothing." "Don't need paying," Elias said, turning to face her. His eyes were a deep hazel, kind but guarded, like he'd built walls around his heart. "You stay here, rest up, get strong. That's enough." Over the next few days, Lila began to feel human again. Elias brought in a doctor from town, a kindly old man who diagnosed her with a lung infection and prescribed rest and medicine. Elias paid for it all without a word, though Lila caught him counting coins late at night, his brow furrowed. The ranch wasn't prosperous, his herd was small, and the land was hard, but he never complained. Lila helped where she could, mending clothes or cooking simple meals when her strength allowed. She learned Elias was a man of few words, but his actions spoke volumes. He chopped wood for the fire, fixed the porch step when it creaked, and left wildflowers on the table when he thought she wasn't looking. Slowly, her fear of him faded, replaced by a warmth she hadn't felt in years. One evening, as they sat on the porch watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of gold and crimson, Lila spoke. "You ever think about leaving this place? Starting over somewhere new?" Elias leaned back in his chair, his hat tipped back. "Used to. After Mary and little Jack died, I thought about riding off, leaving it all behind. But this land, it's all I got left of them. Every fence post, every tree, they helped me build this place. Leavin' would feel like betraying them." Lila nodded, her heart aching for him. "I never had a home like that. My folks were always moving chasing dreams that never came true. When they died, I thought I'd never find a place to belong." Elias looked at her, his gaze steady. "You got a place here, Lila. Long as you want it." Her breath caught. For the first time in months, hope flickered in her chest. But before she could speak, hoof beats thundered in the distance. Elias stood, his hand instinctively moving to his revolver. Amos Crane rode into the yard, flanked by 2 rough-looking men. His face was twisted with rage, a bottle of whiskey dangling from his hand. "Kane," he bellowed. "You think you can steal my worker and get away with it? That girl belongs to me." Lila's blood ran cold. She gripped the porch railing, her legs trembling. Elias stepped in front of her, his stance calm but unyielding. "She ain't yours, Crane. Never was. You got no claim on her." Amos dismounted, his men following suit. "I took her in when no one else would. She owes me. And you're gonna pay for humiliating me." Elias's voice was low, dangerous. "You wanna settle this, we can. But you leave her out of it." Amos laughed, tossing the whiskey bottle aside. "You think you're a hero, Kane? You're just a lonely fool living in the past. Boys, teach him a lesson." The 2 men charged, fists raised. Elias moved like lightning, dodging a punch and landing a blow that sent the first man sprawling. The second swung a knife, but Elias caught his arm, twisting until the blade dropped. Lila watched, heart in her throat, as Elias fought with a quiet ferocity, his movements precise and controlled. But Amos was cunning. While Elias grappled with the second man, Amos pulled a pistol from his belt and aimed at Elias's back. Lila screamed, "Elias, watch out." Without thinking, she grabbed a shovel leaning against the porch and swung it with all her strength. The metal connected with Amos's arm, sending the pistol flying. He roared in pain, turning on her, but Elias was there in an instant, tackling Amos to the ground. A single punch knocked the foreman out cold. The hired men, seeing their boss defeated, scrambled onto their horses and fled. Elias stood, breathing hard, and turned to Lila. "You all right?" She nodded, her hands shaking. I didn't think I had it in me." Elias's lips twitched in a rare smile. "You're stronger than you know." They tied Amos up and left him for the sheriff, who arrived the next morning. Word of the incident spread through Redstone, and with it, whispers of Lila's courage and Elias's stand against cruelty. The town began to see Lila not as a sickly orphan, but as a survivor, and Elias as more than a reclusive cowboy. As winter approached, Lila's health improved. The cough faded, her cheeks filled out, and her laughter began to fill the ranch house. She and Elias grew closer. Their quiet moments by the fire turning into long conversations about dreams, loss, and the future. One snowy evening, as they sat together, Lila took his hand. "Elias," she said softly, "you gave me a home when I had none. You gave me hope. I don't know how to thank you." He looked at her, his eyes warm in the firelight. "You don't need to thank me, Lila. Haven't you here, it's made this place feel like a home again. I didn't realize how much I needed that." She smiled, tears in her eyes. "Then let's make it ours. Together." Elias hesitated.